All right, so to get things kicked off, we're gonna start by building our first assistant. Now, the actual walkthrough when you create your account is gonna show you and take you step by step through all this, but some of us, like to have a video to kind of guide us through it. So the first thing we're gonna do is click New Assistant right over here in the top right corner, if you can see my mouse. I've got some other assistants here, don't worry about that. For you, this will show up blank. So I'm gonna click New Assistant. The first thing it's going to do is prompt me to select a template. Now I can click a blank template if none of these really fit my needs, but ultimately depending on what my business is and what I'm trying to accomplish with the bot, I might want to choose one of these. A simple booking assistant that's really just going to book appointments. A simple kind of, let's say I have a coaching business and maybe I coach people how to get into real estate, or I coach people how to do Airbnb. An appointment setter that focuses on like a specific B2C context is pretty important. Or maybe I've got B2B coaching and B2B consulting. Then maybe I want to have an appointment setter that focuses more on the actual business and the business plan itself, not the consumer. So selecting this template is going to help you kind of kick things off on the right foot with your actual assistant. I'm going to assume that maybe I help people build a real estate coaching business. So I do like personal consulting and personal coaching is kind of the template that I'll click. So first thing first, the name. This is an internal label, okay? So this is not, nobody's going to see this. Your leads are not going to see this. It's only for you to understand your different assistants. You might have multiple lead generation strategies, in which case you're going to need different assistants for them, okay? You might have multiple businesses that operate in one CRM. So I'm just going to name this Test Assistant. This entire page basically dictates how your assistant is going to behave, okay? So this configure page is their behavior, their timing, their context, their prompt, all of that fun stuff. Conversation window, when do I want them to communicate? When do I want it to actually answer people, right? If I want it to pretend to be me, if I want it to seem like a human, like a real person, I might not want it to talk to people overnight. I might only want them to do it during business hours, for example. In this case, I'm a big fan of speed to lead. I'm a big believer in getting to the lead quicker. So I'm going to do, 24 hours pretty much all day long. Interval minutes is the same exact thing. If I want to make it seem like it's me and I want to add a delay before the response is sent back so it's more like human-like, because obviously you're not going to be glued to your DMs answering people every single second, then you could add response interval, between 1 and 3 minutes is this example. I'm going to just change it to 0 and, maybe like, I'll just 0, 0. I'll just keep it, I'll just keep it 8. Zero, 0. So model will come up later. You don't have to worry about this for now. Keep it at default. This is in the context is you can actually train models, and I'm going to cover this in another video. But you can train models based on your previous conversation history. So if you've had like 5 appointment setters in your DMs for the past year and they've got hundreds and thousands of conversations that they've used, you can actually train the model on those conversations. So it's a really cool feature, but we'll cover that later. For now, default is good enough. Assistant name, this is customer facing, so people will see this. We always go with AJ. So AJ is our assistant name. If someone asks what's your name, you say AJ. We could give it some context later on to pretend to be me if I want it to be, but in this case, I always prefer to just announce that I'm an assistant and that my name is AJ. Program name or company name, what like is my actual coaching company called, or what's my actual program called? In this case, I'm a real estate coaching company, so I'll just say like real estate coaching. Founder name is just going to be me. Prospect goals. This is essentially what the lead is trying to accomplish by being a customer or by being in my DMs in the first place. So I'm just going to say scale their real estate portfolio to 100 units. I'm a real estate coaching business that helps people scale their portfolio to 100 units plus. I work with seasoned investors portfolio faster. So this is just an example. You're going to want to be as detailed as possible when you're building this out, okay? When you're entering this, the more detailed you are, the better your bot's going to be. So offer specifics, I'm just going to leave this blank for now because I don't want to take up too much time, and other contexts, I'll leave it blank. But this is really where you can get very granular. You can put in pages and pages of details on your offer. The more you give it, the more it's going to be an expert. Even with just my name, the AI is actually going to Google me and it's going to find a background on who I am, what I've done, and XYZ. So if a lead is asking me personal questions about that, it'll actually be able to answer about things that are related to me. I can give it specific content, if like context, if I know that I don't want it to say something, if someone asks it, I can say here, don't mention anything about my other business net revenue, only about this business, if I want to, for example. So really simple. Important links, this might be your website, this might be a landing page, this might be booking links, whatever it is. Any important links, you're gonna put them here, and then what the link is for. So just put the link in quotation marks, what the link is for. Business niche, I'm real estate investing coaching. Opening goal / prompting question, this is really important, okay? So this is essentially when somebody DMs in, what is the first message that's going to go out? So if someone DMs the keyword start or the keyword learn or whatever your keyword is, what is the opening message that the AI is going to send? I personally prefer scripting the opening message because it's going to give you better data on success. Whereas if Setter AI is always doing a different message as the opening message, it's actually harder to track what is successful or not. So for example, my keyword is start in this example. Is someone reaching out to learn more about my coaching business. So I'm going to ask them the first question. I'm going to say, great. Tell me a little bit about your real estate business. This is just an example. Should the assistant disqualify leads? In my case, yes. I'm going to say disqualification question. You're going to write out your disqualification question. What is the actual response that would DQ them? And then where are you going to send them if they are DQ'd? I'm just going to turn this off for now so I don't have to spend too much time. Tone guidelines. How do you want them to sound? I want them to be sharp. I want them to be short. I want them to be fast. I want them to be kind. I want them to be bubbly. I don't want emojis. That's what the tone guidelines are. So then I'm going to click create. It'll bring me to the next step, which is messaging. It's important to understand that your assistant needs an actual platform to message off of, okay? This is not going to be like, they're not going to be managing leads within its own system. It's managing leads within a platform that you already have. So whether it's your Instagram account, whether it's your CRM, whether it's your email account, whatever it is, it needs a platform to be messaging leads through, okay? So in my case, I'll use Instagram. I'm just going to click connect. It'll bring you to permissions, allow. And then it should bring you right back. You might have to log in, but it should bring you right back. This page is going to configure how it actually interacts with your account. So now just because I've connected to my Instagram does not mean my AI is going to answer every single DM in my DMs, which is a good thing. I don't want it to. I only want it to work on leads. I don't want my cousin to message me and then the AI starts taking over. So if you wanted to process all inbound messages, you can click that. For me, I'd rather use a keyword. My keyword is start. Match keywords exactly. I'm going to say yes. And then maybe I'll do like go. So start and go are my two keywords. Outbound keywords, this means that if I send a message, it's going to trigger the bot. So if I get random leads that don't say the word start or go, then I might put like outbound keywords, real estate, as an example. And the reason I do this is because I know that when a lead messages me and I'm going to ask them about their real estate, the AI is going to catch that keyword and then the AI is going to turn on. Now, this is not like a mini chat where it's just going to send one message. This means that the AI is on and will manage that conversation entirely. It's going to work the entire conversation, usually about 7 to 8 DMs before it concludes it through a successful iteration or a DQ. Okay? So it's really important to understand that. Disqualify leads. Now in the configure section, I already told it to disqualify. This here is specifically for the purpose of data. Okay, so if I want to actually catch the data of DQ'd leads, I'm going to click it. And end conversations, this is basically when the goal to end the conversation has been met. So in the configure, I might have said like, hey, you booked a call, the conversation's ended. Okay, then maybe you have a stop as a keyword. in case people say stop. You're going to click save. Once you click save, go next. Booking, this is how it's actually going to book appointments, right? This entire assistant's designed to book sales calls or book live appointments. You might be able to connect it directly to your CRM. If you connect it to your CRM, it's actually going to be able to look for open times on the calendar and book it, okay? So I'm not going to run through that example, but if you click go high level, for example, you're going to connect your account, and then you can connect the calendar that it's going to book to. It will look for open times, and it'll tell the lead, hey, I've got 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. open, okay? If you do a link, it's going to send the link to the lead to book the call. So just make sure you understand that distinction. If you natively connect it to a CRM, it'll automatically book on the calendar. If you do link, it will send the link to the lead, and the lead will book. You'll probably have a higher drop-off rate if you send the link to leads versus offering them times to book. We've tested that with thousands of data points, and offering them 2 times to book is always more effective than sending a link. I'm gonna click next. This section is to test. You can just basically test the bot as if you're an actual lead in your DMs. So just start with the keyword that you put in the messaging section. Start with that keyword, click send, and you can test it. If you don't like a way that it's messaging, you go back. You can go back, and then you can actually change the prompt and dial it in. Obviously, I didn't do much to the prompt, but so when you're testing it, if it's messaging in a way that you don't like, just go and update it. If it uses an emoji, say don't use that emoji, for example. Don't use the smiling emoji. And then you can just improve it. So this whole process should take you about 15 minutes to set up, to do it properly. And the more time you take here on the actual configure section, the more effective and the more your AI is actually going to sound like a part of your team. All right, on the next video, I'm going to show you how to actually use the workflow section, which is pretty important. So tune in there. And if you've got any questions at all, feel free to shoot us over a message.